Hi, in this video I will tell you everything about status bar in Excel. First of all, I will show you how to hide or show status bar, and then what information is displayed on the status bar. Please note that few options may not be available in your version of Excel, and for the purpose of this tutorial we are using Excel for Microsoft 365. So let's begin. This is your status bar at the bottom of the Excel window. And to customize it, you can right click on it anywhere and you'll see all these options. By default, some of the options are checked and some of the options are unchecked. I have selected all the options to show you everything about it. So first thing, how to hide it. There is a shortcut key that is Ctrl Shift and F1 that actually hides the ribbon. And with ribbon it also hides status bar. I'll show you. So here in Excel, if I press Ctrl Shift F1, you will see that this ribbon will hide and the status bar will also hide with it. Right? I can press the same shortcut key again to unhide it. So this is the one way. Another way is to use VBA. For VBA, you need to press Alt plus F11 shortcut key to open VBE. That is Visual Basic Editor, where we can write our code. In VBE, you need to press Ctrl G to show immediate window. Let me show you again. Here I need to press Alt F11 to open Visual Basic Editor. So this is my VBE window, Visual Basic Editor, right? And this is the immediate window. If it is not visible, you can go to View and click here, Immediate Window, to show this window. Or you can also press the shortcut key Ctrl G from the keyboard to see this window. In this window, you need to type Application.DisplayStatusBar equals false to hide the status bar in Excel. Now press enter, and in Excel you will see that the status bar is now hidden, but the ribbon is still visible. So using VBA you can just hide the status bar, right? Similarly, you can replace false with true to again show the status bar. So status bar is visible again. So these are two ways. You need not do this every time you want to hide only status bar. You can create a procedure as I have created here in VBE. You can give it in any name, right? I have given it the name toggle status bar because this procedure will hide and show the status bar. So basically it is setting the status of status bar to either true or false depending on the current state. So now we can use this in Excel. I will assign this macro or this procedure to a button in quick access toolbar. I have already done that. If I click here, you can see that the status bar is now hidden. If I click here once again, now it is shown, right? So this is a toggle button now. It is calling the same stored procedure that I just showed you. So this is how you can hide or show status bar in Excel. Okay, next is cell mode. What is cell mode in status bar? So basically now we are talking about what information is displayed in the status bar, right? So the first is cell mode. There are 4 modes here: ready, enter, edit, and point. So as we start writing something in Excel, it automatically switches from one mode to another. Let me show you. And here currently we are in ready mode, right? When I start typing something like hi, now we are in enter mode because we are entering some values in cell or making some entry in cell, right? Now if I press enter key, we are again in ready mode. It is ready to accept the input, right? Now let us write a formula and see what happens. Here I want to calculate the sum of salaries, but be aware that we have some errors here in this column, so we cannot use sum function which will result into an error, right? So we'll use another function that can ignore these errors, and that is aggregate function. Now as soon as I start entering the formula, pay attention to this, the modes. Currently we are in ready mode. Now as soon as I start typing the formula, we are in enter mode, right? Let me start typing the formula and complete it. Calculate sum, ignore error values, and now I want to select the range, this range, right? When I click here, currently we are in enter mode. As soon as I will click here, it will be in point mode. See, we are in now point mode because we are pointing to some other cell while writing the formula, right? Now we are in point mode, and now I want to close the bracket, although it is not required because we are not nesting the functions. I can press enter key to get the result, but let me add closing bracket just to show you that now we are in enter mode from the point mode, right? So this is how it automatically switches from one mode to another. But why it is so important? It is important because, as I have stated here, to edit formula for data validation, conditional formatting, name dialogues, pay close attention to the cell mode. You must be in edit mode or you will mess it up. Let me show you in Excel. Now, for example, I want to apply conditional formatting here. I'll select it. I want to highlight cells having errors, right? So I will create a new rule, write my own formula here, and I will start typing the formula here. Again, pay attention here. We are in enter mode. Is error this cell, and let me change the reference type by pressing F4 key, function key. If is error, if this is an error, let me highlight it in different color. Looks like there is some problem with the formula. Now I need to edit it, right? I'll go to manage rules, double click on it or select it and click on edit rule button. It should be okay. Now let me tell you one thing. Now I want to remove dollar from 2 and put it before D column, before D, right? So when I would press left arrow key to delete that dollar sign from here while in enter mode, see what happens. We are in point mode now because it has started selecting this cell, right? This is how this box works normally. But if you want to edit it, press F2 first, right? From enter mode, we need to be in edit mode so that we can use arrow keys to move within this text box easily. Now it is not in point mode. Now we are editing this value, editing this formula, right? Now I can press F4 key and we are good to go. So this is why paying close attention to these modes is important while we are editing a formula in data validation or conditional formatting or in the name box, right? Now let us click OK and we are done. We are now highlighting the cells having errors. Okay, so that's all about cell mode. Next is flash fill blank cells and flash fill changed cells. Let me show you. Instead of reading this, I'll show you practically what happens. Now we want to separate first name and last name and put them in separate columns. So here I have written first name and the last name as a sample, right? I will use flash fill. For flash fill, you can use shortcut key Ctrl E, or you can go to data and click on this button, right? Now if I click here, what happens is that there are some blanks because there were no names here. Now pay attention here. Flash fill blank cells 13. It means that there are 13 blank cells up to this point, right? And flash fill changed cells 56. So 56 values have been changed by flash fill, but actually we have 57 values here. Let me show you. If I select it, the count will be 57. So why it is showing 56? This is because the first value was already written by us as a sample, right? So flash fill actually affected 56 values, not 57. Now let's say you add some more names. Let me add a few more names here. right? Now that is gone. Flash fill stats are gone. Now I'm going to add more names. So I have added 2 more names, right? Now here in this column, I want to fill rest of the first names, 2 more first names, I mean. So again, I will press Ctrl E to execute flash fill. Now what it says, flash fill blank cells. We still have 11 blank cells here. Earlier we had 13, but now 2 cells have been filled. Now we're left with 11 blank cells, and flash fill change cells 2, because 2 values, 2 first names have been filled by flash fill. So that is why it is showing 2 here, right? Or maybe you can add more names like this. Let me bring them up. Now they are in continuity. Flash fill will work here. Control E. Now see, flash fill blank cells 14, flash fill change cells 7. So we are still having more blanks, so it has added 3 more blanks here. Earlier it was 11, right? And 7 new values have been entered by flash fill. Okay, so this is how it works. Next is sheet number and sheet total. Again, coming to Excel, these are the total number of sheets and the number of the current sheet. Currently we run flash fill, which is the second sheet. That is why it is showing sheet 2 of 3. If I click here, it will show sheet 3 of 3. Okay, so basically it is showing the current sheet number and the total number of sheets. Okay, next is workbook statistics. Workbook statistics displays information about the current sheet and the entire workbook. Again, let me show you here. So this is what it shows. For current sheet, it shows the end of the sheet is H24. So what does it mean, end of the sheet? End of the sheet is basically the last cell used in this sheet. If you press Ctrl End, you will end up in the last cell that has been used so far, H24. So this is the last cell where that has been used. If I type something here, right? Now let us see workbook statistics. Now it has changed to K26, end of the sheet. Press Ctrl End and you will end up in K26, right? So this is the end of the sheet. So next is cells with data. So there are 144 cells having some data in them, right? Then tables, we don't have any tables, so it is showing 0. Then formulas, 4 cells have formulas. So how to identify the cells that have formulas? Again, we have a short quick trick. Go to home, go to find and select, and here we have formulas option. It will select all the cells that have formulas in them, which is otherwise difficult to identify, right? So all these cells have formulas. So that is why it was showing 4. It is showing 4. Similarly for entire workbook, including all the sheets, so total number of sheets is 3. As you can see here as well, this 3. Cells with data in all the sheets collectively is 522. So 522 cells have some data in all the sheets collectively. Tables, we don't have any tables in any sheet. Formulas, 4 formulas again, I think in this sheet only. And well, this is important that we can identify if there are some formulas in the entire workbook, or do we have any tables anywhere in the sheets. So this is important, right? You can easily identify. Instead of going to individual sheets to see if there are some tables or formulas anywhere, you can click here and get these stats quickly. Okay, next is count of records after applying filter. Okay, let me show you practically. So sometimes we apply filter on the range. Let me do that. Let's say I want to view employees in various departments and click OK. We need to know how many records we can see now after applying filter. So normally many people start counting it or selecting it and then getting the count here, but we are getting the same count here. 11 of 23 records found, right? There is a filter applied on this sheet. You can see this tooltip, and similarly if I change the filter, let me clear it and apply some other filter randomly. Now you can easily see again 11 records of 23 found. Let me apply another filter as well. randomly. Now we have just 4 records of 23. So in case you have like hundreds or thousands of records, it becomes very easy to see the number of visible records after applying filter. Okay. Now in order to clear both the filters together, you can click here, sort and filter, and click on the clear option. It will clear all the filters in one go. Okay, that's quick. Okay, next is signatures. Okay, so signatures basically indicate that the active workbook has been digitally signed. Let me show you how it works. You need to go to File, Info, Protect Workbook, and then click on Add a Digital Signature. It ensures the integrity of the workbook by adding an invisible digital signature. So signatures are not visible anywhere, but you will just see a small icon in the status bar. Let me show you. First, you'll see this dialog box, and then you need to select the commitment type. For example, created and approved this document, or created this document. So let's say I just approved this document. So what is the purpose of signing this document? Avoid accidental changes. You can type anything you wish, and then you can include more details here if you want. For example, address, signer, role, and title. Okay, you can fill all this information and click OK. And then this is the information for signatures. You can change it. This is the certificate that you need to buy. You need to buy signatures from the authorized vendors, right? And click OK. Now, if I click on sign button, it will tell me that your signature has been successfully saved with this document. If the document is changed, your signature will become invalid. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay. So here we are getting some messages. First of all, the document has been marked as final, meaning that this has been marked as final and indicating that no further changes are required, right? But one can edit it anyway. In that case, it will remove the signatures. Now, how do we know that there are signatures? You will see this icon in the status bar. This document contains signatures. You get this tooltip. Okay, so this is an indication that we have a signature in this file or workbook. Now, if I click on edit anyway, it will give me this warning. Editing will remove the signatures in this workbook. Do you want to continue? Yes. The signature has been removed and the document has been saved, right? Now all the warnings are gone. The document is not marked as final anymore and it is editable, right? Now you can edit and save it, right? So this is how signatures work. Okay, next is this is how you add signatures. Okay, marked as final. So sometimes you just want to mark the document as final without adding signatures, right? So how do you do that? Again, you need to go to File, Info, Protect Workbook, and mark as final, the last option. Let readers know the document is final. Okay, the workbook will be marked as final and then saved. Okay, now you will again see the same message marked as final, and yes, you can again click on edit anyway to modify this document and save it, right? And you will also see a new icon in the status bar, this one. This indicates that the document has been marked as final, right? If you click on edit anyway, that icon is gone. Okay, next is information management policy. So basically this is used to restrict permission to content in the active workbook. But sorry that I cannot show you because my version of Excel doesn't support this feature. And similarly, this is also not supported in my Excel version, so I'll not be able to show you. Sorry about that. Okay, next is various types of locks: caps lock, num lock, and scroll lock. You must have observed this already. You can see num lock here. So basically, all these keys are on the keyboard. You can turn them on and off. So if I turn num lock off, it will not be shown here, right? Let me turn it on again. You'll see numlock. Similarly, if I turn caps lock on, it will be shown here, caps lock. Similarly, we have scroll lock as well. So now all the three indicators are also on my keyboard. Okay. Let me tell you about scroll lock. What is scroll lock and how it works? So sometimes what happens is that you need to stick to one cell and still scroll down using arrow keys, right? So this is what scroll lock does. So currently scroll lock is on, and if I press down arrow or any arrow key, it will stick to the same cell, but still I am able to scroll down or right and left and up as well, right? But it is not changing the cell. This is what scroll lock does. Now if I turn it off, we are now not sticking to the same cell using arrow keys. Okay, next is fixed decimal. So fixed decimal is basically, let me show you by example. Now for example, someone makes data entry where he needs to enter decimal numbers very frequently, right? For example, this one, like this. Some data entry operators may be doing this very frequently. But for this, you need to press decimal key as well, right? For example, if I want to enter a value 15.62, I will type 15, then decimal, then 62, right? So you can avoid entering the decimal key or avoid using the decimal key from the keyboard to make it even quicker. For that, you need to go to File, Options, Advanced, and here is the option. Automatically insert a decimal point, and you can specify the number of places, decimal places. After decimal, how many digits should be shown? This is 2. So let it be 2. Now if I type something like 1565, it will be 15.65, right? 98 523, it will be 985.23, because we have selected 2 as the decimal place there in options. Go to advanced again. If I decrease it to 1, let's see what happens. So this is the number, right? It will be 5238.9. Okay, 8.7. So this is how you can become more efficient in entering these decimal values. Okay, and it indicates here that the fixed decimal is on. This mode is on. You can turn it off again. Go to options, go to advanced, and click here again. Uncheck this box. Now that is gone. Fixed decimal indication is gone. Okay, so next is okay, this is how you turn it on and off. Next is overtype mode. So this is basically related to editing some data. Let's say in Excel, if I want to make some changes, any value, if I press F2 key and I type something, it will not change any previous value. I mean, it will not replace any previous value, right? But I want to replace it. So for that, I can press insert key from the keyboard, and you will see overtype here. When you press insert key, text you will type will overwrite existing content. Okay, now you can see that it has selected 9, or if I use left arrow key, right arrow key, it will select some digit or some character, and when I type something, it will be overwritten. It will replace 9 with some other value, right? So this is what it means. Press F2 again and press insert key again to switch to overtype mode, and again you will replace the values instead of inserting them, right? So as soon as you press enter key, you need to move to you need to switch to insert mode again every time you edit the cell, right? This is how it works. Okay, so next is end mode. Basically end mode is just like using control and arrow keys, but instead of control we use end here. For example, I am here, and normally we use control and arrow keys to move to the end of the range or to the bottom of the range, any end. control right arrow, control left arrow, control down arrow, right? So instead of using control, you can use end key and then arrow keys. The only difference is that after pressing end key, we can wait for arrow key, right? You need not press these keys together as a shortcut key. So I have pressed end key and we are in end mode now. Use arrow keys to quickly move to the edge of the data range, right? Now if I press down arrow key, it will move to the end of this range. Press end, press right arrow key, press end, press right arrow key again to move to the last column because we don't have any other data in between. Press end key, press home key to move back in the same row, right? So this is how end works, end and then followed by arrow keys, just like using control and arrow keys, right? Next is macro recording. So this button is for macro recording. This is used to record macros. Click here and you will get this dialog box to record a macro. You can give your macro a name, some description, and where to record this macro. Click on OK and it will start recording macro. And let me click OK, then you will see that this button has changed to stop button. See, this has changed. A macro is currently recording. Click to stop recording, right? So I can click here and the macro recording has been stopped. Okay, so this is the button for recording macro. Next is accessibility checker. So basically it verifies your file against a set of rules that identify possible issues for people who have disabilities, right? So depending on how severe the issue is, the accessibility checker classifies each issue as an error, warning, or tip. I'll show you how it works. Click on accessibility and currently we don't have any issues, but let me change something here. For example, I can change the color of the header to make it less visible. So we have a warning here in accessibility checker. It says that hard to read text contrast. If I click here, it will select the range where we have an issue, right? So it is also making some recommendations to change font color or fill color. Okay, other suggestions are also there, so you can follow them. Let me show you one more example and add a shape. Okay, so as soon as I have added a shape, we have another warning, missing object description. So I need to be clear about it, what purpose this rectangle is solving, right? Now let me right click and edit text and type something like go back. And as I'm typing here, we are getting no warnings for this anymore, right? Or you can also, let me delete this. You can also mark it as decorative. Here, mark as decorative, right? Meaning that it is just for the purpose of beautification. Otherwise it has no other purpose. Okay. So this is how it gives us warnings and you can fix them to get rid of all these warnings and make it accessible for the people having some disabilities, right? Okay. The next is selection mode. Okay, so this is like for selecting multiple ranges, right? You need to press F8 key. As soon as I'll press F8, it shows this extend selection. Now I can use arrow keys to select the range. Without using shift and arrow keys, I'm using F8 key, right? Now let's say I want to select another range, this one, right? I will press shift F8 to add more cells. Now I'll move here and then press F8 again to select these cells, right? Press shift F8 again and move to another range. Let's say this range. Now press F8 again. So I'm not using mouse, not using control key, not using arrow and shift and arrow keys. I'm using F8 and shift F8 to select multiple ranges, right? So this is how it switches between extended selection and add or remove selection, right? Okay, so let me press escape key to come out of this mode. So this way you can press F8 key and Shift F8 key to select multiple ranges. And next is page number. So page number is visible only in page layout view, not in other views, right? Here we don't have page numbers, but let me switch to page layout view, and now we have page numbers. Page 1 of 6, this is page 2 of 6, but you may have this as the second page, but here we have this as the fourth page. This is because I have changed the page order. Right, let me zoom out, and you will see all the pages, and here it is showing page numbers, page 1, 2, 3, and total we have 6 pages. Remember, we are not talking about the number of sheets here. Number of sheets are 3, but the pages that will be printed are 6. Out of 3 sheets we'll get 6 pages, right, when we print it. So this is the last page that will be printed. Now if you want to change the print order, you need to go to File, go to Print, and in the page setup, in the Sheet tab, you can change the page order here, right. Now it is down then over. This will be page 1, 2, 3, and 4. Earlier it was over and then down. Page 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me do this. By default it is this one, right? But I changed it. Now you can press escape key. Now this is page 1 and this is page 2. See, the order has changed, right? Now this is page 3, this is 4, this is 5 and 6. Earlier it was second page. This was third page, right? So this is how you can change the order, and in page layout view you will see these page numbers and total number of pages as well. Switching back to normal view. And next is various calculations when you select a range, right? Depending on what type of range you have selected, well, these are numbers or labels, you will see the calculations here or numbers here. For example, if I select this range, you will select count, right? If I select this range, you will select count and numerical count, which are now different because within this range we have 2 cells having errors, right? So basically total count is 12 and cells that have numbers are 10. Okay, rest of the 2 cells are having errors. Now if I select these 4 cells, you'll see more values here, right? Average, count, numerical count. Now observe that count and numerical count are different because we have 2 numbers, but in total we have 4 cells. So count basically counts non-blank cells. It can be a number or a label, right? And then minimum value, which is 15,000 in this range, and maximum is 30,000. And then sum of these cells, right? You can select more cells. And because of these errors, we are not getting rest of the values. If you want to see other values, yeah, you need to select the cells without errors, right? Then you will see average count, numerical count, minimum, maximum, and sum, right? You may be seeing some few things out of these, but you can right click here and opt to select these values. For example, here sum, if I uncheck this, you will not see sum anymore, right? So this is how you can turn them on and off. Okay, so next is view shortcuts. Okay, so this is basically to switch between various page views like this. These are the same buttons here. So this is the normal view, this is page layout view, right? And last is the print page break preview, sorry. So this shows you the page breaks, which you can change as well. So you can select how much text should be printed on one page, right? This is how you can change it quickly. You can change how much text you want to print. For example, on page 1, now we'll see only 2 columns. See, on page 1. On page 2, we'll have more columns. So this is how you can quickly change how much text should be printed on which page, right? You can change the boundaries or page breaks. So you can quickly switch between various page views here. And the next is zoom slider. Okay, so this is basically to zoom in and zoom out. This is, we are zooming in, sorry, we are zooming out. Now we are zooming in. This is zoom in, this is zoom out. You can also click on plus and minus signs, right? Okay, and also you can use control and mouse wheel to quickly zoom out and zoom in. You can try. Or if you are using laptop without mouse, you can use touchpad and pinch to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, next is zoom. Okay, so this is again the same thing. I think I have disabled it. Yeah, let me enable it, and there you go. Currently it is zoomed to 100%. If I change it, it will also show you the percentage, zoom percent. Or you can click here and quickly change the percentage or specify your own custom percentage. For example, 87%, right? Which is otherwise not possible from here, or using mouse and wheel, sorry, control and mouse wheel, right? 87% is not possible otherwise, but you can click here and set it to any custom percentage. Okay, or you can select any of these percentages. By the way, percentage is also here. You can quickly change to 100% from here, right? Or you can also select this zoom to selection. This is also a good option in case you want to select some range and fit this range to the entire sheet. Zoom to selection, right? So it has zoomed to 130% to accommodate this content in the selected range. If I select this and zoom to selection, now it has zoomed to 209% to accommodate the selection, entire selection, right? This is how you can use various zoom options. And thanks for watching, and congratulations, your status has been updated as well. Now you know more about status bar in Excel. Great. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.